I actually had the opportunity to pursue art full-time in my 20s. But I didn't take that opportunity for a lot of reasons. So I'm gonna be sharing with you how life led me to finally making the decision to pursue what I love when I turned 30. And I'd love to hear your story as well so we can inspire one another. I actually turned 30 in 2021, so I am now 33 and I have been a full-time artist for 3 years. As this is my first storytime video, I thought that it's the perfect thing for me to talk about because it's where everything began for me. I'll be drawing as I talk about my experience and my story. For this art, it's gonna be something that I plan to animate at some point, but for now, it's gonna be sketch to line art to flat colors. To start this off, I want to talk about my relationship with art. You've probably heard a lot of artists say that they've been drawing ever since they were little and that they've been doing it ever since. That's sort of like me, but also not like me. I got introduced to art starting with coloring books when I was in preschool, and from then on growing up and loving anime and learning how to draw some of the characters. But I would also be lying if I said that I was drawing all the time, because I wasn't. When I was little, I was pretty diverse in my interests, so art was just one of the things that I found fun. It was like a hobby, but I had a lot of hobbies. I would only do art when an opportunity presented itself, like in school. Here's the thing, I didn't even join an art club. I joined the choir. So just from that, it shows that art was just one of the things that I liked doing, but I didn't love it yet. Until college. Here's the thing. I'm from the Philippines, and back in 2008, which is technically the start of my first year in college, usually the path that are considered safe or secure are in the medical field, law, what else? Government, and accounting. Like jobs like that were the most highly recommended by parents. Speaking of parents, my siblings and I are rather lucky with our parents because they actually fit the two opposite spectrum in terms of career path, because our mom is in the accounting side as a banker, while our dad is in the creative field of media. So he's also experienced with doing freelance work and of course experiencing the potential instabilities of the job. It's really interesting for me because it created a balance for us, which means they didn't really push anything on us. In fact, they supported us in whatever endeavors we want to pursue, including our college courses. Of course, my mom would just, from time to time, would sneak in a little motherly advice and would ask, would you be like interested in, being a doctor? And I'd be like, I can't handle blood. How am I supposed to do that? She doesn't mean anything bad by it. It's just she tries her best to make sure that we have a happy, or rather a stable life, because she did experience poverty when she was young, so I understand where she's coming from with regards to that. But I am so grateful that she never forced us into anything and was just hoping for the best for us and, of course, continuously praying for us. Our dad, on the other hand, who is more chill and quite free-spirited, would usually just leave it up to us, helping us make decisions by giving us advice whenever we ask for his insight. But by the end of the day, he would remind us that it's still our choice because it's our life. It's our life to lead, and the only people who would really know how to best lead our lives is, of course, us. And it's something that we have to figure out, while he reminds us that him and mom will support us in whatever decision we make. Which is why I'm so grateful to have had such an amazing support system in my life. But despite that, I still didn't grab that opportunity that I had then. So now the question is, why didn't I take those opportunities? quite a lot of things: financial reasons, cultural, and just truly being afraid. I was afraid of failing if I did pursue it. So I know it's a bit negative to think like that, but when you hear the perspective of others so many times telling you that art can only be a hobby, it affected me. But I still wanted to figure all that out in college, which is why my first choice was related to art, which is advertising arts. I knew deep down that I was happy about it, but at the same time, I was also worried because it was a test for me to see how deeply I really felt about art. Since I mentioned before that it's pretty on and off, that it could be something that was just a hobby or something. So I thought to myself, this is the best way for me to find out if it's what I truly want. Then let's time skip. I graduated and I was ready. I was like, all right, time to find work. I was pretty excited about it because I have to admit, it did show me the different avenues that I can pursue with art. This is more than just what I initially thought it could be. And now that I have more potential options to choose from, I'm like, okay, let's get to it. And the job that I looked for was as a graphic designer. And it was my path for the next 9 years until 2021. As I was doing graphic design work, I was actually taking in freelance projects for illustrations just so that I can still apply myself in that kind of art. In a way, I felt like I couldn't fully rely on it, which is why I took it more as something to add on top of what I was earning as a graphic designer. Don't get me wrong, I actually really enjoyed learning graphic design skills. It's just that it was more for my work and profession rather than my passion. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I can still keep doing graphic design work. But I also had to admit to myself that it was the very excuse I was giving myself not to pursue a career in illustration. And of course, as a daughter, I'm very grateful for my parents for being supportive, but they were always reminding us not to worry about like finances and all that, which I was really grateful. But for some reason, I just couldn't allow myself to explore or be free of it because I just wanted to help, to give something back. I think that's a pretty normal thing for a child to want to do for their parents, especially supportive parents. Now, even though I enjoyed doing graphic design projects, it really made it difficult for me to balance it out with drawing illustrations at the side because both take so long to create because they're both art and both take time to create. So whenever I had to choose between the two on which one I should put my time on, I usually reverted back to graphic design projects because it felt the most stable for me to do, especially as I was already building an experience as well as my portfolio. But at the very core of it, I knew that I was scared. I was just scared of failing at it. I was scared of taking the risk because at the time I was also uncertain on what path of illustration I was gonna go for since it's also pretty vast. And I know that it would take time because I also need to develop my skills as I go for them and pursue them. But also, I wasn't certain about a lot of things, like where I would fit in the industry. But I suppose the only real way to find out is to try at the very least, which I actually admit that I quit drawing so many times. It was always like when I ran into self-doubt or difficulties, I would stop drawing for a long time and then I would want to get back to it again. And it added to more of my fears because it made me wonder, how strong do I have to be in order to pursue this? And as I went through this journey of quitting and starting over again and quitting again and starting over with art, time just passed. And now for the turning point when everything changed, we get to 2018, which is the moment where my life began to shift. one of the biggest impact of that moment was losing our mom. It was a full 6 months of in and out of the hospital, and that was life-changing. I'll just say it like that. Of course, I was there for my dad. All of us were. And, we moved forward together as a family and just let her memories live through us. We were setting our family with new goals together, and we're determined to be able to do that until, as we all know, in 2020, a lot of people's lives were changed. And I didn't know how big the change was gonna be for mine and my siblings' lives at the time. Because 2 years after our mom passed away, COVID took our dad. And I never really mentioned this before, but I'm actually a daddy's girl. And, with losing our mom and now our dad, it's like, I can't even describe the feeling. It's just my worst nightmare twice, quite near one another. And we were still grieving our mom, and now we have to grieve for both of them more. So it was a lot. It was a lot. I felt a huge loss in my overall support system in life, and everything just felt unstable at this point because they were my biggest motivation in life, my goals, my dreams. It included them. So the loss of them felt like those dreams, I didn't know what to do with those dreams except know that deep down I have to change them now. It's scary. I still remember it, and I'm still scared. In fact, I'm still scared now, And after that, my siblings and I decided to pursue our own independent paths, but of course reach out one another for whenever we need someone just to talk to or for support. And that's when I started really looking deeply and thinking about what I want to do with my life, my dreams, my goals. As I started reflecting and thinking on future possibilities for me, memories of my parents made me look back on their life and on the stuff that they did in life, and I actually realized that they've done a lot. They've done a lot of the things that they truly want to do in life, and that even when things got difficult or complicated, they still were determined to make it work, figure it out, but most of all, have faith in overcoming it. And as I go down memory lane and look back on all the inspirational things that I can get from my parents' lives, it actually gave me bits of courage, and it also made me realize of how I can be brave about pursuing what I really want in life, and that all my fears, the fact that losing them is my biggest fear in life, and I'm learning how to be strong and overcome it. I thought to myself, then what about the fears that I initially had that made me not pursue art? And as I look back on those fears, they felt less scary, to the point that I'm starting to feel that I can overcome them. And so that's when I started checking off the list of fears that I initially had and trying to do them one by one. Drawing live and sitting in public cafes. Instead of my back to the wall, I would usually look for a table wherein I know the other people can see what I'm doing. As I checked off all those things, I've become more confident of myself, as well as a little braver. Now, as I was experiencing these new things, I still had a full-time job as a graphic designer, and things were going pretty smoothly. This is in 2021 now, a year after my dad passed away. And well, let's just say I experienced another loss, and that is getting laid off from my job. Now, that was a nerve-wracking news to receive, especially as I was still trying to navigate and prepare myself to finally pursue being an artist, but part-time. So at the time, I was just thinking that, is this a sign? Is this the sign for me to just go all in instead of my initial plan of doing it part-time first and then just, eventually. But I actually did that before, and I still didn't commit full-time. So I feel like at this point, I felt that life was just telling me, just do it. I also felt that it was a now or never decision. That if I didn't decide right then and there to pursue art full-time, that I feel like I never will. That I will hesitate again or never find that same courage that I was feeling at that moment. Don't get me wrong, I was still worried, but a part of me also felt more braver in taking on that challenge. One thing that you should note though, that this decision was still calculated on my part because I do have money saved up for a few months that would give me time to explore, learn, study, research on my venture as a full-time artist. The reason why I wanted to mention this is because it's pretty important that I let you guys know that decisions like this, they have to also be not too risky. And I made sure that I at least have my finances ready for essential stuff such as rent, food, and all those things that are very, very important in life. It also helps me focus because it'll make me less anxious about it, giving me the time to build and start off this new path of mine as a full-time artist. And now, 3 years after, I'm still here. I'm still making art, and I'm happy to be doing it every single day. It's not easy, I'll be honest with you. It's full of ups and downs, but the thing is, I've never felt more excited about waking up and getting to my drawing board and start doodling or animating something, even just for fun or for work. I've never felt this way about anything that I've done previously. So this definitely tells me that I'm here, I'm happy with my path, and it's something that I know I won't ever regret moving towards in my life now. And it's a journey that I am proud to say that I am walking, running, crawling, all those things. I'm just happy that I took the leap. And if there's one thing I'm sad about, it's my parents and how I continue to miss them and wish that they were here. How I wish I can talk to them, and how I wish they would have seen how I'm growing and how happy I am in this path and finally living, doing the real thing that I want in life, just like they did theirs. And yeah, that's one of the things that I know they're watching over me, but of course, during like moments of wins, big or small, I always imagine, telling them and sharing stories with them, and of course hearing back from them, whether it's praise or criticism. I'm always open for that in conversations with them. I want to live my life showing them that I'm great and that I'm taking care of myself the way I believe they would have if they were still with me. as a way to close off this story, here's a screenshot of a conversation that I had with my dad when I expressed my desire to pursue art full-time to him, and this is what he said. Everything that I've been doing and what I want to do is something that you'll eventually see on my YouTube channel or even on my social media, because there's so many more things that I want to do, I want to create, and of course I want to share and teach here in my channel. So this is an ongoing journey with an ongoing story, and thank you so much for being here. I look forward to growing this community as well and sharing more of the stuff that I have planned. I will consider this story a prequel, like how I got started in the first place, and the future videos are going to be on how it's going. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and of course watching me draw as I tell this story. And finally, I just want to say I hope that this inspires you to pursue what you love, because there are no certainties in life, and that life will always have challenges in them. So for me, I'd rather choose my battles, and if that battle involves me like learning a new skill in illustration, then I will have all my fun in that, instead of the other path that I initially thought I could continue pursuing. Both have challenges, so this is more of a pick your battle. And I'm glad that I'm facing mine with art, and I'm really grateful for that opportunity, and I hope that you as well will find that courage in you to pursue art or continue on your journey. So thank you so much, and as I always say, let's go out there and make some art.